We're back. We are back. I'm outside Rupp Arena. Dunaway is in Cleveland at the. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was going to be this noisy. I'm feeling like we're back in Nashville. But you just witnessed the Alabama Robert Morris game. Alabama wins 81 or 90 to 81. Immediate thoughts, because that is not what any of us were expecting to watch. As similar as the Auburn game yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it was different than the Auburn game because when it was 32-31 Auburn went on a roll. But when it was 65-64 and Robert Morris actually took the lead, that's when Alabama flexed their muscle down the stretch, played the kind of basketball they've got to play to advance in this tournament. And I really believe, and I would love to know what the chat thinks about this. I really believe the tone of the game and the game changed when Grant Nelson came into the contest. He came in having not played, had 0 fouls, so he could come in and start throwing his weight around, not having to worry about picking up a couple of quick fouls. And I felt like it changed the physical aspect of the game a little bit and let Alabama get a little bit more physical under the boards where, truthfully, they had been surprisingly giving Robert Morris a lot of extra shots throughout the game. And that's how Robert Morris stayed in the contest. So to me, Grant Nelson, who I don't think was going to play, having to come in and play actually helped Alabama survive and advance.
Yeah, and based off of what you just said, I have the box score pulled up, and Robert Morris out rebounded Alabama offensively 16-5 and had 15 second chance points. So that verifies what you just said. They had a lot of opportunities, but I mean, Grant Nelson played 7 minutes, obviously all in the second half, and scored 5 points. He scored more and had 3 rebounds. He scored more than LeBaron did in 27 minutes. Jaron did in 19 minutes. Aiden did in 19 minutes. And Aiden Sherrill did in 9 minutes. They played a similar amount. So he came in and he made his presence known off the bench.
He really did. And that last 7 minutes is where Alabama played its best basketball. So they played their best basketball with him in the lineup there 100%. We're going to get to your comments in the chat room coming up. Little T is going to walk us through that. She's Taylor Korn. I'm Jim Dunaway, and this is the Basketball Show postgame show brought to you by a couple of our great sponsors. That includes our wonderful friends at Culver's, where right now a lot of you are on a special diet, and you may want to have some seafood. They've got great sandwiches there when it comes to fish sandwiches on Friday and such like that. Their hamburgers are always 100% beef and never frozen beef. And they're able to just make those things taste absolutely perfect with our friends at Culver's there. We appreciate them being part of our postseason coverage right here on the next round. That fresh, never frozen ground beef on a butter burger, butter bun. It's always terrific with our friends at Culver's. Welcome to Delicious, our friends at Culver's. More on March Madness and the NCAA Women's Tournament, also a proud sponsor, coming up in a moment. Second thought before we get to the chats. Mark Sears, not a lot of points early on. He ends up okay in the points department, but he was doing so many other things. And he was the last person I talked to in the locker room before I came out. And I was like, man, when the points aren't coming for you, do you get frustrated? And we were talking before the interview, before I turned the camera on. And he's like, no, I've really learned to enjoy the assist and all the other things. And the maturity level of him, I think, helped Alabama in this game to where he didn't get frustrated, not scoring a lot of points early on, but he was making sure a guy like Cliff Omoruyi and others were getting a chance to score. That maturity level really helps, I think, on nights when Mark's not filling it up early on.
Yeah, I mean, and he ended the game with 10 assists. So
right.
I don't know if that's a season high, but I feel like it's got to be close. Okay. Let's see. To the chat. Survive and advance, says Jeremy. Yes.
Yes, that's all it is.
Survive and advance. Blake says 100% Craig Dunaway without Grant. I believe Alabama might have lost. And I don't know if you saw this, probably not because you were focused on other things, but I saw Aaron Suttles sent a tweet out basically saying that exact thing. He said, if Grant Nelson doesn't come in the game, I don't know that Alabama wins.
Yeah, and I really do believe that they were going to try to rest him all the way through this. But I think you learn something. One thing you learn is how is he going to react to playing, right? So how sore will he be tomorrow in the shoot around? Practice will be closed. And then what's his availability on Sunday against either St. Mary's or Vandy? Is he able to start in that game where he did not start today? Is he able to play more minutes? He only played 7 minutes. I said at halftime to people, I don't know if I tweeted it out. I don't think I did, but I told people at halftime, with the game being, there was game pressure on Alabama play early on in the second half, then I think he is hurt a little bit more than we think he is. And he didn't come in until Alabama was behind in the final 7 minutes. But he looked good when he was out there, relatively speaking. You can tell he's hurt. But he played and did not seem like he was in a ton of pain, just not 100% mobility. So I walk away from the Grant Nelson situation as positive as I could, even though they did not get him the full game. I think now he will be able to play more minutes on Sunday, and boy, will they need him because he made a difference.
Okay, I'll be interested to get your opinion on this because I wasn't able to watch the whole game since Auburn player availability was during the second half. But Timmon said, I was listening to the radio broadcast on my way home. Was the officiating as bad as the Crimson Tide Sports Network crew made it sound? I'm basing this off of Twitter because I didn't go back and rewind when I got out of the Auburn locker room. But I don't know if he's saying officiated poorly in terms of like looking at it from an Alabama perspective. But Mark Sears shot as many free throws as the entire Robert Morris team did. So I don't know if what he's complaining about.
Yeah, I don't
know that he's complaining.
Right.
Timmons, I didn't mean for that to sound aggressive at you. I don't know if that's the way that he's trying to look at it or what the Crimson Tide Sports Network was saying in terms of like what was being officiated poorly. But you were watching in person.
Well, I would say two things first. I didn't hear the Crimson Tide Sports Network say that, so I'm not going to just take his word that they said that, or that he is an Alabama fan saying that. He may be a different fan base saying that. I will say this about the officiating. I thought Alabama benefited from the calls more than Robert Morris did. I thought it was officiated in a way that helped Alabama. So again, I don't know if the Crimson Tide Sports Network even mentioned officiating, and I don't know who this guy cheers for. All I'm going to say is watching courtside, I thought 50-50 calls. I have no problem with the officiating. I thought 50-50 calls, when in doubt, went Alabama's way. I thought it was officiated in a way that was beneficial to Alabama, especially down the stretch, especially in the final 7-8 minutes of the game. I was 100% okay with the officiating because they let them play as they often do in the NCAA tournament, and it was officiated more like a Sweet 16 game than it was a first round game. You usually get a little bit more of a ticky-tack foul situation in the first round. That was not the case. They were letting them play.
All right, Morgan said, like I said last season after Grant Nelson's first ever game in an Alabama uniform, he's the key to Alabama success. Grant remains the key to Alabama success. And I cannot remember who it was. I don't know if it was Richard Hendricks who said this, but someone that was on the next round, I believe it was last week, leading into either the NCAA tournament or the week before leading into the SEC tournament. And I feel like it may have been Richard Hendricks that said, or maybe Ron Slay that said, Grant Nelson is Alabama's X factor.
Yeah, and I think they have a couple of guys who could be that, but the most consistent X factor is Nelson. He is the guy that he can score. He is an elite rebounder and an elite defender. And I think he and Mark Sears stir the drink for Alabama. So I have no problem calling Grant Nelson the X factor. And when you're facing elimination and facing his final game, Mark Sears' final game, Cliff Omoruyi's final game, Chris Youngblood's final game, and who knows who else, there's something to be said about letting that guy go out there, even on a bum knee, and give it his all to try to save his career at Alabama to make it go at least one more game. So I thought it was a great move to put him in. And if you're going to go down, even if it's one-legged Grant Nelson, you want to go down with him on the floor. And I was really, really impressed with what he did when he came in the game. More comments coming up as we continue our post-game show, brought to you by our friends at Culver's and also by our friends with Night Edie, who are getting ready to bring March Madness back to Birmingham. And I tell you, this is so important that we continue to support this NCAA tournament and all the events, men's and women's, when they come to Birmingham, because that means we'll keep getting these events down the road. And the Madness is coming back to the Magic City. The NCAA Women's Basketball Regional is tipping off at Legacy Arena March 28th through the 31st. And you can witness the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 battles for a trip to the 2025 Women's Final Four. Intensity, drama, unforgettable moments. It happens. There's a chance Alabama could be down in Birmingham. So get your tickets now. Be a part of the action. Visit ncaa.com/WBB tickets. That's ncaa.com/WBB tickets for more information. Again, they're a proud supporter of our post-game coverage that allows Taylor and me to go on the road with the Tide and the Tigers. Back to the chat room, Taylor.
Okay, business burner. What was the mood in the locker room?
The mood in the locker room was, I don't know if it was Nate Oats that said this, but the last words in the locker room that I heard through the door that I wasn't supposed to be listening through said, nobody's satisfied. And then they 1, 2, 3 broke. So I think that would be the mood when I went in there. They gave their flowers to Robert Morris for playing hard, but I don't think anybody left that game satisfied. We'll have all the post game up throughout the afternoon and next round live from in the locker room. So you judge from yourself on my questions to Grant Nelson and Mark Sears and to Aiden Holloway and to Jaron Stevenson. But nobody's satisfied. This team didn't come here to be one and done or to win one and lose in the round of 32. So I got the feeling that nobody was satisfied with a 90-81 win.
Wes says, still can't believe the threes aren't falling consistently for anyone. Sears has been cold for 4+ games. Are you considered about, but I mean, they still put up 90 points.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because we've had this conversation a number of times where it's been Auburn games and Alabama games where we've left. And I've looked at you and said, I really feel like that wasn't a great shooting night. And whatever respective team were walking out of the arena, they put up 80, 90 points.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And does Sears, does it bother me that he's not pouring in 30? If he pours in 30, I don't think anybody in the country is going to beat him. So I like the fact that that's still out there. I'll tell you who I'm more concerned about scoring right now, and that's LeBaron Philon, because he plays a lot of minutes. And he didn't score until late in the Florida loss. And I don't know, did he end up scoring today? Deep into the game, he had 0 points. And go ahead and tell me how many he had.
He had 1 point, but it was a free throw.
Yeah, 1 point, free throw. And right now in back-to-back games, a guy who scouts who I sit by a lot on press row, and again today, believe he's a one-and-done guy. I'll say that again. They believe he's a one-and-done guy, that he's going to the NBA when this run is over with. But in the last 2 games in the SEC tournament now, he's got 0 points until deep into the game. So he is the guy that I am most concerned about scoring consistently. Now, he does a lot of things like Mark Sears and Aiden Holloway does that helps the team. But I don't think he's the best defender in the world out there. And I don't think Aiden's the best defender in the world out there. Sears of the guards is the best defender for me. Philon's good at 2, but I need him to be scoring the ball and distributing it a little bit better. And so I'm more concerned about him not scoring right now than I am Mark Sears. I believe Sears will get his like he did down the stretch here tonight. I think he had 6 points at one point with 16 minutes to go. I think he had 8 with 12 minutes to go, and he ended up with 19 when it was crunch time, when they needed him. So I'm okay with Mark Sears. I'll always be okay with Mark Sears.
Robert said, I'd love to hear Oats talk about the team like Stephen Pearl did. We'll have Forrester's always really good about getting sound from press conferences out on our social media shortly when shortly after they become available. So be on the lookout for that. A lot of officiating talk. Kenneth, Bama needs to learn to block out.
Yeah. I mean, that was a problem. You know, some of the rebounds, and again, I'm watching courtside. I don't know how it looked on television. To me, some of the rebounds, especially in the first half, Alabama had the position and they didn't aggressively grab the basketball. And Robert Morris aggressively ran around them or reached under them to grab the basketball or over them to grab the basketball. Sometimes they were in the right position to get the rebound, and Robert Morris just was more aggressive getting the basketball. And that is a problem, right? You don't want to not be the most aggressive team on the floor. And for a lot of the game today, I felt like the most aggressive team on the floor was Robert Morris until 65-64, and you get a wake-up call. And I asked Mark Sears, you'll hear it later on, I said, man, 65-64, what's going through your head? And he said, truthfully, San Diego State, Louisville. That's what was going through my head. Everybody, and Taylor, I know you laugh at me when I think everybody in the building is against Alabama.
Well, that's how it's going to be in these games.
That's right. I mean, in the tournament, in the NCAA tournament, it is true because, first of all, Robert Morris is 125 miles from here, and there were a lot of Robert Morris fans here. But then, if you're a Vandy fan or a St. Mary's fan or anyone else, right, you want the highest seed here, the number 2 seed in your region, to lose because what? It makes it easier on me. So I sent one video to you during the timeout. So it ends up my hair is blowing too. You can't tell though. I just truly believe that this place became 95-5 percentage-wise against Alabama very early in this contest. So Sears said, man, it was just like in Louisville, where I can't remember, I think it was Princeton or Penn. It was an Ivy League school. And then obviously San Diego State brought a lot of fans, but there was another fan base that was there that had the most fans. And all of them started cheering for the upset because Alabama was the number 1 overall seed like Auburn is. So I'm sure you experienced this yesterday too for a moment in the first half. And that's one of the cool things about the NCAA tournament, unless you're the high seed, that the entire building turns against you. Because March is made for upsets, right? And everybody in the building was like, hell yeah, I've got a popcorn and a hot dog, and my team doesn't play until 4 o'clock this afternoon. But I'm here for an upset. Let's go. Whatever Bobby Moe, whatever the name of your team is, let's go. So that's what it was like in the arena.
That's how the Louisville fans were cheering against Auburn before their game even ended yesterday.
I saw that. I saw that. That was unbelievable. I was like, turn around, pay attention to your guys.
Yeah, well, I was just like, I wanted to tell him they all have headphones in. They cannot hear what you're saying. You're wasting your breath. Whatever.
Yeah. And they've heard worse. And they've heard worse on the road to the SEC.
Right. Aaron said, who would Bama rather play now, Vandy or St. Mary's? And you have a very strong opinion about this, don't you?
2 weeks ago, before we even went to Nashville for the SEC tournament, I said the one team I don't want anywhere on Alabama's side of the bracket is St. Mary's. Because of they have the lowest point total of anybody today, the Vegas total points in the game. They slow it down, they milk those shot clocks, and they play elite defense. They're a lot like Tennessee in the SEC. So I did not want to play them, and they get put in Alabama's region, and they get put here in Cleveland, and that's who Alabama, if it stays chalk, would play. So obviously I would rather play another SEC team in Vandy, who Alabama, I think, has much better athletes. And I know Vandy has beaten better teams than St. Mary's has this year. But I think familiarity and just style of play, Alabama would much rather play Vandy. Now, I have no idea who's going to win this game. But if you say, Jim, you get your wish, give me Alabama Vandy on Sunday here in Cleveland, and I'll take my chances.
Do you think, Josh asked, do you think any of the guys were a little less aggressive to stay healthy or not hustling? What I watched, I didn't walk away with that game thinking that effort was a problem.
No.
When I was able to watch.
I would tell you at 40-36 at the half, Alabama up 4. I actually thought they had played pretty good basketball except for the rebounding second opportunity chances. Other than that, I thought, man, they were actually playing pretty good. Um, like I'll use Auburn as an example. I thought Auburn was not playing good. Their ball movement was bad, all the way up until 32-31. And then they went on that 26-7 run and played better, but still not up to their standard. I didn't think Alabama was playing that bad. I just thought Robert Morris was taking advantage of the things Alabama was doing wrong and scoring points. So I'm not worried about the effort. I am worried about the injuries, though. Jaron Stevenson's hand, he went quickly for x-rays. He came back heavily taped left hand. He shoots right-handed. Shouldn't be a problem, but even as he played defense, he was in pain. Grant Nelson will not be 100% the entire tournament. Even if they go all the way to San Antonio, he will not be 100%. Chance they're good, he'll have a small surgery right after the season to repair that patella tendon. So he's going to play through the pain for however long this lasts. So it was an effort for me. I think this team got a little banged up. Cliff one time came down and he was limping throughout the rest of the game. He came down funny on, I believe it was his right leg, right knee. And he sort of was a little sore the rest of the contest as well. So this team's a little banged up. Darian Reed played really well. Hit his first three-pointer since, I think, January 11th on an amazing play where Phylon was running out of shot clock and ran out of space, threw it off a guy's head and went straight up. He was trying to get it out of bounds, went straight up in the air. He grabbed it, dribbled, kicked it to Reed at the buzzer of the shot clock. Reed hit his first three-pointer since January the 11th. It's past that in March. It's been over 2 months. And that was a big moment in the second half. So they're a little banged up, but no excuses. It's March. Everybody's banged up. We'll do rehab in April.
Okay, I've seen comments about the same topic from a number of people. And it's something that's been talked about in terms of both Auburn and Alabama, but I'll use Laura's. It's right here. Robert Morris had nothing to lose. They threw everything at them. And I think that is something that you see frequently with these, 1-16 to like these types of matchups, is the fact that the 16 seeds, the 15 seeds, they have nothing to lose. They're not expected to win. So that probably makes them play a little more free. They're not in their heads. There's no expectation.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of pressure on these teams that are expected by the media, by society, to make a run and go a long way. So I'm sure that having literally no pressure because no one is expecting you to win probably takes a lot of that weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, mini LeBron Dickerson, who's from Cleveland, Ohio, and he went for 25, I think, today. This was his dream, I'm sure, to play in this building with his LeBron headband on and light up a team that was a 2 seed, and he did it today. That guy he had the best day of anybody on the floor, right? And he's from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm sure they mentioned that on the broadcast. And he had a day. The kid from Bessemer, who played at Princeton, getting a chance to play against Alabama and again against Mark Sears. He had a great day, a lot of assists, a couple of great buckets. You're right. It's nothing to lose. Let's go make one shining moment. It's what this thing's all about. And it's not good if you're the favorite, but that's what this thing's all about. And it was a great day for Robert Morris. I left with nothing but respect for them. And as a guy who covers Alabama from Alabama and has cheered for Bama my whole life, I'm glad they weren't one of those highlights that you'll see at the end of the tournament.
I mean, they won. Survive in advance. It's over and you're moving on.
That's right.
I think Vandy and St. Mary's, I meant to look up what time they tipped off.
Oh, they're going now. Yep.
Oh, they're going now? Okay.
Yeah, they're playing. They're playing as we speak, right down the hallway from me.
Okay, well, I'm going to go send out the locker room sound that Dunaway got. I believe you talked to Jared, you talked to Aiden, you talked to Mark.
Yep, Grant Nelson.
And Grant. Okay, so Be on the lookout. On Twitter is where you'll be able to find it first. And then after the Alabama stuff is out from the locker room, I will start sending out some Auburn stuff from their availability today. And then we'll be back tomorrow for more games.
Right. Let me tell everybody about Culver's one more time. The Culver's Deluxe Fresh, never frozen ground beef on a butter bun with lettuce, tomato, onion, pickle, and American cheese. Cook to order. Create your own concrete mixers as well. Choose from Culver's many toppings. and blend them together. It's right there, the great custard. And also the madness coming back to the Magic City. The NCAA Women's Basketball Regional tipping off March 28th through the 31st at Legacy Arena. It's the Sweet 16 Elite 8 games. So somebody from Birmingham, actually 2 teams from Birmingham, will go on to the Final Four. That's the way the women's tournament will work. You can get tickets at ncaa.com/WBB tickets, ncaa.com/WBB tickets right there with our great sponsors who bring us the basketball show. Taylor, wrap it up for us.
Oh, my word. My phone almost just flew away. Okay, follow us on social media at Next Round Live and locker room stuff from both Auburn and Alabama. Alabama first, their post-game reactions, and then Auburn later on. And then we will be back again live after Auburn plays tomorrow night. Auburn plays late at 7:10 Eastern time, so 6:10 Central time. We'll be live after that. Y'all have a great rest of your day, and we will be sending stuff out on social media for all day long.